by AKAPAD. It all started with this book, Cyberforce, Volume 1, Issue 1, 4-issue miniseries. Nice spread cover here, double cover spread, sweet 90s colors, sweet 90s inks. But here's the cool thing. See, RIPCLAW here, he's our Wolverine proxy. He's off to the left. But when this series goes monthly, boom, our boy, here we go, look, monthly, right there, ongoing. He's front and center. He's leading the band. Well, it takes a little bit of time, but RIPCLAW actually goes solo. And when he goes solo, he has some amazing artwork by Brandon Peterson and a very choppy but attempts to be fun at times story. So today, for Top Cow Tuesday, we're going to get into it. It's a big day today, AKAPAD. This is Top Cow Tuesday. We're talking RIPCLAW's initial solo venture, his initial 3-issue breakaway series. We knew him at the time through Cyberforce, but now Top Cow is making the capital investment to bring. Is he Wolverine? No. RIPCLAW is as far and distant from Wolverine as you would hope. This 3-issue miniseries, it's far from perfect, but what it has, it's another through line by young artist Brandon Peterson, who's still in the game, by the way. He's doing incredible, fantastic artwork. Brandon Peterson does his best to make a woefully uninteresting plot or script entertaining. We lose cabin pressure at issue 2. Issue 2 brings us out of the 3-issue structure, but we got some cool things to highlight and the connection to Witchblade that a lot of people miss, and we're going to open up with that at the drawing table. So AKAPAD, it's Top Cow Tuesday. We're talking RIPCLAW, the 3-issue miniseries. Let's go. Oh, we get just, there's always books. I cannot just do a Top Cow Tuesday anymore. Which is like walking up here, setting up the camera, and talking to you guys about some amazing 90s goodness. Now, before we proceed, say hello to the guys of the table, the mascots of the table. We have Crypt, we have Pike, and our spiritual advisor over here, Stephen Hughes. Thank you, Stephen Hughes. Guys, if you're new to the channel, we're about 90s comics. We're about fun stories, amazing colors, nice layouts, experimentation, everything that these books created. And what did Cyberforce 1 and 1 create? Well, a windfall. See, these sold very well. And you get a lot of money. And you get bankers and financiers and CFOs. You get all of these types that find you when you make cash. And they help you spend your capital. Well, part of the ways you do that in-house is you attempt to make guys like RIPCLAW into superstars of their own. And I always liked and was bothered by this cover. His traps here, right? They're huge. I always felt like the head should be just a little bit smaller, but I like the idea. I just like the idea that RIPCLAW's in the forest, screaming his face off, surrounded by his claws. And we open up. So this is kind of cool. And let me preview something we have coming up. So coming up, we have Ballistic here. You guys can see Brandon Peterson draws the gunships. These are like little mech armor guys. Nice nature scenery. The story begins with Killjoy here. Here's the thing I love about a little bit what's happening in the Cyberforce Cyberverse. Well, when we get into the Ballistic miniseries, which is also 3 issues, well, Killjoy's front and center relatively quick with that one as well. See, here she's screaming her face off. And her face in front of his face. So they're trying to create like reusable villains. Killjoy is the clear standout of the earlier Cyberforce days. She's a villain I absolutely love. I love her visual, like golden, gold and purple, LA Lakers colors. We have all of it. All right. And I know I'm all over the place, aka Patters. Before we move any further, we did Misery. This is a one-shot. It came out in what year? I always 1995, December 95. Brandon Peterson does one hell of a job. I mean, he is drawing just regular, normal people, great environments, nice moments, fantastic hair. His hair's incredible. But this is one hell of a book. This is in dollar bins all over. I don't care. It's a good read. If you read the Killer Instinct crossover that launches the Cyberforce Monthly, crosses over with Jim Lee's Wildcats, Misery is the linchpin of that entire crossover. And he's front and center with this. I believe he is writer, penciler. He later goes on to cross-gen. He does some damage. He's still one amazing talent. So for issue 1 of RIPCLAW, we have Killjoy and we have Shadowblade. And Shadowblade, look at this guy. He's such a cool design right here. So Shadowblade's a little bit of a, excuse me, Indian mystic. They're tracking down this power source. And the power source is this like moonstone here. This moonstone that really looks like a turd. It does look like a turd. It's everything that this series is going to revolve around. The Shocks and Cyber Data and Kamada here. Kamada later go to Cyberforce issue 25 called Misery and Kamada, right? Okay. We know where that goes. That's also a video. Everything is about this. Bear with me. I know I am all over the place. Kamada and Cyber Data sends the Shocks to track down this power source. The power source is this shaman that he really is like all powerful. He takes on all of the mech armors, starts destroying everything. And I mean, look at that emotion that's drawn here. Look at that expression. Really cool stuff. I even like here on it's like the dome. See, like the dome of these exoskeletons. I love it that there's like reflections of the readouts from inside the control panel right here on the dome. Really like fantastic details. But the Shocks and Cyber Data with Killjoy and Shadowblade, right? Let's make sure we get his name right. Shadowblade. They want this guy's hanging turd right here, the turd moon rock. And they're like, this, maybe not, but definitely worth killing for. So they're all in on it. But let's cut to a doctor uncovering, well, he digs a hole. And he's like, everything is true. The doctor gets taken out. And then we cut to his daughter. Like, we're jumping years here. So the doctor uncovers the rock, gives it to the daughter. The daughter is completely butt naked. Taken, like she's like Pocahontas, right? That's what RIPCLAW is. RIPCLAW is Top Cow's Pocahontas. So she's connected to the earth. Because of that, RIPCLAW feels like an energy shift. He feels nature. He's talking to the owl. He's speaking. I mean, literally like Pocahontas. We have like a tree here. And he's talking to the face inside the tree. But then he wakes up from this like dream. He snap awakes, which is a RIPCLAW trope at this time. And he's like, hey, he goes, I think something terrible may have happened to him. May have happened to your pops. Because he uncovers something related to this. So, RIPCLAW jumps out. He tracks down the girl. He starts doing the work. He needs to hunt down this energy source, find out what happened to the doctor. The plot is in full motion. Sorry, I ripped this out reading it. And then at night, we get this dude that shows up right here. And he's like, oh, they're like, you're a demon. We don't like demons. He's like, I'm not really a demon. I'm a human demon. Give me the stone. I want the stone. They go back and forth, and the entire house gets nuked. So some of these relations and the flow of even this initially, guys, I know I said in the intro that issue 2 is where it breaks. It very well may be issue 1, because I'm not explaining everything super well. So we jump to the doctor's daughter. We're at night. Cyber Data is tracking the glowing turd moon rock, and Killjoy shows up. And then she transforms into a demon. So some of this is Cyber Data wants the Moonstone because it can open up demon portals. But if you have it, you can kind of possess yourself. And this is a little bit what we see in previously. We did the RIPCLAW special #1. There's a little bit of this, like we can dip our toe into the demon world and summon things, which is this right here. I mean, guys, how do you not love Killjoy's design? And then RIPCLAW, in one of the best illustrations of RIPCLAW we have ever seen. Guys, sometimes you have to draw vertical, and you have to figure it out. And Brandon Peterson here, his vertical pose of RIPCLAW, literally just like freeform jumping through the window. I mean, he looks like he's a part of the X Games. But yeah, but look at Brandon Peterson drawing Killjoy. This is why we love Killjoy. Yeah, so they beat up the demon girl a little bit, and Shadowblade is just looking cooler than a cucumber. And then, RIPCLAW kicks some ass. Right here, cool pose. He's protecting the girl. Killjoy's bloody. And then they're like, unless there is something about my mother never mentioned. Okay, so maybe her mother has a little bit of a connection to this demon world and this and that. And then here we go. The two of them are off on the quest. They have to go to the beginning of what her father uncovered over here. We have to go back here. So they go back here, and they uncover a nicely drawn 1/2 of a page RIPCLAW face, and the demon, what has Chulhuthu, is H.P. Lovecraft. A little bit of a, with the squiggly mouth over there. This is also the guy that they describe in True Detective, the demon thing that's like hunting down the girls and stuff. So, and there we go. We end, and then we open up issue 3 with a full-out demon battle. Great green coloring, guys. The Ashby Mason here. Mason. Great coloring. Guys, and this here, like, see how much he's incorrect with the elongation of the neck here? But this part is so well drawn. It really goes to show you, right? Like, it compensates for the incorrect anatomy. But Brandon Peterson's so good with it. He just sells it, and you kind of move on, but it does look like a rubbery neck. But the demon here, and look at the fear in the girl's face. The demon boy that's protecting the site, right? Because they got to poke around. This is what killed her father. He throws RIPCLAW right into the wall. They start fighting. She, right here, tries to stab him. The spear breaks. And then we have, boom, RIPCLAW's spirit daddy. So RIPCLAW, we see this from RIPCLAW Special 1. RIPCLAW kind of has these like shamans that hover around him. So if you can, this is where it is kind of cool. RIPCLAW's like, again, I keep calling him a Wolverine proxy, but he's surrounded by these spiritual advisors, so to speak. And they're all powerful, and they're almost like, a lot of this is X-Men Australia with Chris Claremont and Mark Silvestri, and they had characters that could kind of summon portals, and that's why X-Men Australia at this point is the most like underrated era of X-Men. But it's also the Mark Silvestri era. But yeah, so Shaman Boy comes in, everyone teams up, and we have to send the demon back to the hole. So the demon gets sent back to the hole, also advertised in RIPCLAW Special. RIPCLAW Special with Jordan Raskin and Mark Silvestri, August 95, is available on this channel. We already talked about it. Let's go with the promos. Yeah, and we get some back and forth. And he's like, he opens up his own portal. And he's like, look, we need that moonstone. So here's the thing. We find out that there's multiple moonstones. There's 4 of them. So we go to a casino because we're Indian and it's a reservation, and we're not being racist there at all. But yes, we are. So this is where it gets fun, Ghostbusteries and goofy. So within the casino, since these like portals are like rupturing and opening, the casino itself turns into this, like, you know, like the dice get demon heads, and see, like, it burns the guy's hand, and the lever here turns into a snake and bites the girl's butt, because that's what demons do. But it's like, it's very Ghostbustery. Like, all chaos breaks out. This guy, and spoiler, this is Shadow Ravenclaw. What's the guy's name? I keep forgetting his name. Where is he? Shadow Blade. That's Shadow Blade. So he does this thing where he like completely like sweet talks this girl, and we see that, you know, she's like subservient to him and he's going to bang her. But his little guy here is like, hey boss, I know you ain't going to believe this, but everybody's leaving. And he's like, what? And he looks out, and then, you know, the casino is upside down. And then we jump into RIPCLAW and the girl on the motorcycle, and then we have a random gunship and the paneling here is fantastic, by the way. Yeah, it's being flown by Killjoy, and she starts, like, you know, like Top Gun 2, or not Top Gun 2, Mission Impossible 2, right? Because we want that motorcycle scene. But yeah, she starts ripping all these rounds off. They get into a tunnel. They break away. He takes the bike and goes in one direction, gives her a helmet, essentially, because he's got helmets here. But then he takes the bike, right? Like, you think she would take the bike. But then RIPCLAW, you know, does this whole action sequence that's kind of out of nowhere. Nice little spread here by who did the spread? Brian Haberlin. He later becomes a weapon in American comics. And then the girl, you know, but see, now we're in the flashback. See, we're not told we get into a flashback. This is where it breaks. Then we're in the flashback, and we find out how the girl and RIPCLAW met. She was being pursued. He just happened to be in the woods. And then they kind of fall in love from there. But then we cut to here with the Moonstone, the present. We don't know anything about the transition, because I always like the coloring in the background here. Well, Killjoy shows up, takes the Moonstone turd, and then we have RIPCLAW hanging from a branch with Shadow Blade, and then boom, out of nowhere, Felicity shows up, and so does Cyblade. She nukes Killjoy, and then Cyberforce is here to save the day. And then they follow the energy signature to a house. The house blows up. So all of this quick, not very well explained. I do like this though. Look at how Brandon Pearson shadows the interior of the Blackbird here. I love that, where it just goes from detail into, again, never draw into the horizon. Even here, see these this mountain side here. Never draw into the horizon. Nice silhouette. Everything blows up, and then at the end, RIPCLAW, his friend shows up. Now he's got 2 Moonstones. So, and then I never understood the cover for issue 3 until now, where they're kind of in the casino here. They're inside the casino. We see the coins, and RIPCLAW's like slicing off one of the slot machines that's possessed. It's very hard to know that they're in a casino here. But then we get, guys, we get some fantastic Brandon Pearson artwork here. Let's go. He's really good with these. So if we compare this with some of our other stuff, where these upshots, Brandon Pearson nails these upshots. We have a Felicity miniseries that we've done on this channel, and Anthony Chun during that. Let me just show you guys. Here with Felicity, we have these upshots, and Chun here tries it more than once. But here's the first one. We see the demon guy, that's we're not going to get into the story, but this is a mutant. He trains for him. They try to cure cancer. This is what he becomes. But he's like basically like haunting and taunting Velocity throughout this series. And we see, like, again, like how similar these upshots are, right? To where right? We're not looking like, we're not exactly looking up. Here it's sold because we're doing things where we're bouncing that cheekbone just enough. We're bouncing, or we're cutting in underneath the chin line, so we get a little bit of the underjaw. And we're selling the idea that we're looking up. Here, it's a split draw. It's a very flat horizon lines here, drawing, and we're hoping we sell it. And that's kind of the difference between Brandon Peterson and his contemporaries. But this guy wants the Moonstone. Everyone's rushing in to help. The casino is getting all wonky, kind of cool, but we just see like the reality and everything is warping, everything's chaotic. He, again, like a fantastic impact here. And then like the casino, I do love how it becomes like, to me, this is like Ghostbusters. This is Ghostbusters animated series, by the way, not the movie, but completely chaotic. And then we get this other flashback another time where we learn a little bit of this deal that's made, and then we're moving on from that. The two shaman, they fight, and here's the cool thing. So RIPCLAW needs to channel his like animality, and we see the possibility of RIPCLAW as a character. This is what I mean. They do, as much as a disjointed read this is, the way that they explain the RIPCLAW character, it's very interesting. So imagine Wolverine with like a spiritual like side, and he has these spiritual advisors that are all powerful around him. Well, he fights, so it's like Moonstone versus Moonstone, Team Orange versus Team Blue. They nuke everything explodes. Nice running away from the explosion here by Brandon Peterson, right? Like nice effects. I like this, where we have like the bigger clouds and then smaller clouds. It's just like a do. You almost can hear this. Very well done. But then everyone is safe. We're at the end. The sun sets. RIPCLAW is saved with his babe, and that's it. We're done. So we get this evolution of the RIPCLAW character in here. The read and the way that we follow some of the characters, not quite tight. Not as tight as Velocity here. I thought for a 3-issue mini, Velocity works a hell of a lot better. But we're not done with the 3-issue minis, because as previously, we got one more left to go, and that's Ballistic. Guys, this is Top Cow Tuesday. This is what we love. Subscribe, support, leave a comment.